Hello and welcome to Amazing Women in Business, a podcast where we celebrate the courage and tenacity of women who are not just participating, but profoundly transforming the business landscape. I'm Demi Lin, your host, and navigating the complexities of personal and professional growth across cultures. Get ready to be inspired, feel connected, and empower your journey with every story we unfold. In today's episode, I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest, Chris Shi. Chris was introduced to me by my best friend, Tracy. From the moment we met, I was struck by her brilliance and genuine warmth. She's an incredible thought leader when it comes to navigating work, life, and mental well-being. Chris is the Senior Director of Global Lead for Google Cloud Trust and Safety. Before joining Google, she worked at eBay, and over the years, she's built a reputation as a top expert in the field of cloud trust and safety. But beyond the titles, what really stands out about Chris is how deeply she thinks and how naturally she connects with people. When we first met over dinner, we clicked right away. And the conversation we had during this podcast interview was just as magical. It was a windy day. We were sitting in Tracy's backyard, chatting as the sun went down. For this episode, I have to apologize for the windy background noise, and the last part of the podcast video was recorded in complete darkness. We got so caught up in our discussion that we didn't even notice when it got dark. That's how captivating the conversation was. And what's really incredible about Chris is her perspective. Even though she's spent over 20 years dealing with what she calls the dark side of the web, she holds a profound belief that people are fundamentally good. Her career in the tech industry has been driven by her passion for connecting people, fostering understanding, and helping those around her. This belief in the power of human connection is the foundation of her remarkable journey. And Chris shared two deeply personal and thought-provoking stories from her career. These stories really stood out to me and resonate with me because they dive into how she's navigated conscious and unconscious bias in the workplace as a female leader with Chinese background. And her insight on observation, self-awareness, and taking meaningful action are not only inspiring, but also incredibly practical for anyone facing similar challenges. Chris also shared practical strategies that have contributed to her career success at Google, one of the biggest names in tech. She spoke about her proactive approach to avoiding bottlenecks within her team, adding value to her team, and transitioning into a thought leader who asks powerful questions to guide her team and focuses on collective outcomes. And this is very instructive. For any women out there trying to navigate corporate life, her advice is pure gold. And what I absolutely love about Chris is her passion for her work. She never gotten bored and truly appreciates how Google's platform allows her to amplify her impact on a global scale. Her enthusiasm is contagious, and I think you're going to feel it too as you listen. All right, I've hyped this up enough. Let's dive into Chris' incredible story. You're in for a treat.
I'm Chris, last name XU Xu. I've been in the US for almost 11 years, and my entire career, like 25 years career, all on the kind of trust and safety, which is trying to make sure we fight abuse for the user online. It's almost like a dark side of the web. So all my career.
Mostly for cloud.
Cloud is my assignment for the 11 years in the US, but my previous experience had e-commerce, eBay, and also other consumer products in Google, like search ads when I was in APAC. Then it's interesting. Every time I introduce myself, I always want to mention, so many years on the dark side of the web, I still believe people are basically good. It's very interesting combination. But I think the main thing for me to still believe in that is because the people I work with. So that's why for the podcast, I hope through the virtual kind of connection, we'll meet more kind of good people in the world.
Yes, and that's actually back to the podcast. Without this podcast, we probably were not going to get to meet each other. Right?
Exactly.
That's part of the connection.
That's magic. Totally.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you just mentioned about you believe in people are nice, good people, and this is part of the bright side of your business. But what inspired you to get into this safety industry and in space and in high tech.
When I graduate, I'm like, I don't know what I want. I studied physics back to school, but I had the same experience with compared with the thing that we discussed yesterday. In the lab, I know I'm not a long-term kind of can pursue this path because it's so hard for me. So after graduating from college, I'm like, where I should land my first career. Then there's a startup at that time in Shanghai called Internet, eventually acquired by eBay.
Okay.
At that time, there's an advertisement on the newspaper. The thing attract me is they said they have high-speed internet.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, the only thing that you.
I'm like, okay, I can go there. I don't have to have to this 56K modem at home, right? You download MP3, one song, 30 minutes.
It's forever.
It's forever. So I'm like, oh, high-speed internet, I will go. So I just went there and passed the interview, then become a data analyst. So this is my first assignment as my first job, my data analyst. Then eBay is about to acquire Internet. Then they look at the company, say, how can an online e-commerce, you don't have trust and safety function? At that time in Shanghai, trust and safety, what's that mean? We don't even have a credit card. So what is the fraud? What is abuse? The whole country, the whole industry don't know what is trust and safety. Same for our startup. Then the CEO at that time said, okay, we have to form a team because this is what our future buyer want us to have. Okay. Then how we do it? Each of the function, pick up your top player, join,
make a work group.
Make a function called trust and safety.
Yeah.
But each of the function, you pick up your top player to join to form this team. So I was picked up from the strategic planning team, where I was data analyst and the market kind of researcher. Then joined the trust and safety journey. Then nonstop until now.
So you stay in the same field for over 20 years.
Yeah, almost 25 years.
But meanwhile, a lot of people keep changing their job, right? Changing their functions. What's your insight around keeping one anchor in one field versus keep changing all different fields?
At different stage of my career, the reason might be different. But the fundamental thing is, I think helping people make me feel meaningful. So I try to apply a part-time role in my previous company, which is eBay, about sales. But after a while, like 20% time, I feel like this is not for me. I don't feel like very meaningful when I go to talk with a seller or someone that have some kind of incentive behind, right? So this is, I think, the fundamental reason. Then the first half of my career is like things always change. It's like the fast growing of the internet in China. You don't get bored, and there's so many different behavior on this dark side of the web. You just start to observe people can do bad things like that. So the job never was boring.
Okay.
Then when I moved to Google, it was 2009. I moved from Shanghai to Beijing because of the Google's job. Because before that, I never thought about I would live in Shanghai because it's like fast growing, right? I'm so close to my network, my family, all in Shanghai. Then in Google, there's so many products. Google has so many products, and also in the different products, different type of abuse. And Google is very encouraging employee to internal transfer talent. So my journey, I always tell my friend, Google make my life map from a city to the country, right? From Shanghai to Beijing. Now, exactly. Then after 4 years in Beijing, then I moved to Mountain View, which is make my life map from a country to world map. So never get bored. Then I moved after I moved to the US, this culture difference, I see different talent, different way of work with different people. Just never get bored. Now, if you ask me why I still in this very difficult space when AI come to the world, there's so many different way of doing bad things online. Now I will say the people. So I surround myself and a Googler. Sometimes I think about if I leave my job tomorrow, what I will miss the most? People. So
you've been a tech company. The driver behind that is actually more about people.
Yes, at this moment, I think it's people. Also, another thing I think about my career development, I don't have unlimited time. I have 24 hours a day. If I can land my time in a platform where the platform is like amplify my efforts to be so impactful across the world, I think if you look at this situation, I think Google still is a very good platform to amplify my efforts. Because right now I also, but when I say cloud workspace, it's part of cloud, like Gmail, like Drive. Imagine that when we launch a machine learning model, it can protect billions of users. Grandma, people just enter the kind of internet using Chromebook, Gmail in school. It's like magic. Of course, sometimes I miss the experience about I don't talk with real people. I just behind the scene building a lot of models trying to protect them, but I really don't know who they are. That's kind of a little bit missing of this people touch. But in general, think about this day to day. No matter what we do, it can be amplified by the platform Google can offer. It's amazing.
Or working on something that's never bored, and it's having big impact, and you can still center around people.
Everything. I have everything. I feel.
Yes. Wow.
Super lucky.
And you and I, we both have the same background. We grew up in China and we moved to the United States. Like looking into my career life, language has always been a barrier, and there's some unconscious bias from my career progress journey. And I'm curious about any particular challenge that you see.
Depending on what angle you assess and how frequent you assess the situation. Unconscious bias, I think, I would say it's everywhere. Myself also probably have some. It's unconscious. It's just like the way the brain works, trying to, rationalize the environment. But the rationalize have to base on your knowledge base. This knowledge base might be biased because I don't know everything. I don't know all the culture. So to me, unconscious bias, depending on how you look at that. If you look at this as a hurdle for you to grow the career in the corporate America and in the US, right? Not international, like regional office. This is one angle. The other angle is like just people don't know. Because bias, this word has some negative definition, right? But if I be transparent about some of the hurdle, I think it's big enough, I definitely will categorize it into the bias. Because this is a different granular level of this definitely bias. This is just people don't know, just innocent kind of feedback. They don't even know after they say it, they just forget. But the people receiving that think, okay, this is a little bit kind of out of the range. So I think several things in this kind of definitely I will put into the unconscious bias. It's more about gender, less about Chinese background.
Wow.
In my case, because I had 3 times in my entire career, all in Google actually, didn't happen in eBay. All in Google. One was in Beijing, twice is here. In the reorg, I'm being moved under my peer, same level. The peer is male. 3 times. The first time when I was in Beijing, I didn't feel it. I'm just like, okay, that person joined Google 1 year ahead of me, same level. At that time, I was level 7. I didn't feel it. Then the second time when I was in the US, it happened again. Then that moment, actually, I was at that time it triggered my feeling because that guy joined the team 2 years when at that time already 10 years in Google, and I had more experience than he had. Then just happened. Then at that time I feel unfair, but I still don't link this to the gender thing. I'm just like unfair. Just maybe my manager doesn't know what I'm doing, and he had this perception that guy had more experience in the previous job, right? But when I chat with one of my best friends in Shanghai, then I share why I have triggered such a strong feeling, because normally I'm not a sentimental person. I'm like focused on the business, get things done. But when the trigger feeling, definitely something there. But I don't know how to.
Something's going wrong.
But I don't know how to interpret that. I just feel like I'm not happy. I feel this is unfair. And that time, okay. By the way, this just add another very good advice I had from my friend. So I shared the experience with her. I said to her, it's so unfair. If you assess the situation based on my description about what happened, you also think it's unfair. I just fly back and quit Google. I don't accept any unfair stuff. Remember yesterday we talked about our style, right? Unfair. Then she asked me several questions. The first question she said, okay, now if we turn back time for 1 year, will you do something differently to avoid the situation from happening? It was like, wow. Then I thought. Then also definitely yes, because I enjoy walking. Just walking. At that time I was level 7. Still level 7, just moved to the US 1 or 2 years, I think. I didn't do a very good job upward management. I just don't think it's needed, because we do a good job, you see the result.
Just focus on the job, and then the result will represent yourself.
This is our culture, right?
Yes.
Then she asked me. Then I said yes. I definitely would do something differently. Then who do I blame?
Blame yourself.
Exactly. Things to improve, right? So this is the first thing. then I asked her why my manager made the decision. It's just because I didn't do upward management, because I have been working with this VP even before I moved to the US.
Yeah.
He gave me the opportunity. I appreciate it forever, right? Come to Google, I'll come to the US.
To the United States. Yeah.
Yeah. Then she said, have you ever thought about you're a woman in this environment? I never have gender, because in my mind, you are you. This is maybe just me, not necessarily linked to my over culture thing. I treat people as who they are. In my mind, normally I don't have, oh, you're a woman than me, you're a man Jack. To me, you're Jack, you're than me. So I never think
That's
myself.
Either your blind spot or
Exactly.
it never come to your perception.
Exactly.
Okay.
To me, it's like, I'm not a woman, Chris. Come to the meeting. I'm Chris. I have this assignment. I'm here to do something. So she said, have you ever thought about this? Because she knew this is not first time.
Yeah.
She said the second time. Have you ever thought about you are a woman in this workplace? I'm like, I never thought about it. Never thought about it. So this is another shock. The first question triggered my decision of stay.
Yeah.
Take the outcome and move on and learn from it. The second one, I start to be more aware of those kind of perception of this gender. Yes, so I think the reason one actually also happened, but I don't think it's more like a reorg. But still, I moved to someone same level, but he used to be my manager's peer. So it's not the same like peer move. So doesn't have to. It's not the third time. Actually, it's slightly different. But this is the first time I start to aware that I'm a. People might see me as a woman.
Yeah, you started having the awareness of the kind of female gender difference.
But I made that decision at that time.
Yeah.
Talk to myself. I will try my best to make sure among my peers, I'm the best. If anyone will be promoted first to the next level, it's me.
Okay.
This is my determination. After last time, it was I think 9 years ago. The thing happened, triggered my such a big feeling at that time. But also can offer another conscious bias. If you okay.
Yeah, sure.
So there's a group that I joined trying to support a different minority group. DEI will have the diversity, equity, and integrity, right? Inclusion efforts in our organization. So I joined. At that time, it's not for any specific group, just like overall DEI efforts. I was the only Chinese. The rest of the group, they're all American, like born in America, but they have different minority group.
Okay.
So it was, I think it's around 4, maybe even longer, 6 years ago. I joined because at that time I just promoted to director. They want to give me more opportunity to serve the community, so I joined. It's a large organization. It's even beyond my immediate organization. So I joined. All the meeting, we had a summit. All the summit went very well. Then we talk about how to support. Then a dinner. Then we went out for dinner. At the dinner table, naturally they talk about this trade war between China and the US.
Okay.
To me, I'm neutral because I don't know what really behind the scene. I just know what's on the news. To me, it's like every comment I won't feel be offended.
Yeah.
But you can feel when they talk about this as a group of American, I'm the Chinese on the table. You can see they're like talk, but always look at me, like okay, whether it's it's like different.
Did you feel offended?
Exactly.
Or try to check.
But you at the moment, vividly, I find I'm not part of the group. Although at the daytime, we talk about summit, everyone trying to contribute, but at the real situation, I'm still different and very different.
Wow.
So that dinner, actually, I never forget about this group. I think it's around 7 to 8 people total. The conversation itself, actually, I don't mind. Just people talk about different opinion, right? This is so-called inclusion.
Open-minded, that's
open-minded, right?
Inclusion, yes.
But the way that it's run, I feel like they don't have to worry about my feeling. And that moment, I'd rather to be included. But that moment, I know I'm not part of this. So after I served on the program for 1 year. Actually, I can continue. But eventually, I moved out from the program, but focused more of my energy to support the Eastern Asian community.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm part of the community. But that dinner actually is a vivid memory.
That's something I feel is deep. And then it's interesting that you are developing your awareness because I had the same journey. I moved to the United States back in 2008. And then worked here since 2010. About 14 years, right, of career life here. And a lot of time, when I try to get some career progress, I didn't get it. And a lot of time, I always come back to myself and say, hey, is it any place I need to improve? What are the areas I can work on? What can I do to close the gap? But gradually, I figure out, wow, there are some areas with unconscious or conscious bias that I have to break, work really hard to break the barrier. So that's a long story, but it's interesting that that's why that we share similar experience. So if I look into your career here, it's actually, I would define that as very successful, right?
Thank you.
Being a senior director in Google, such a big brand, and not everyone can achieve that. So what do you do differently, generally, compared to your peers? You mentioned you work really hard, right? You try to deliver a project. Anything else that you think that you do differently than your peers?
Okay, I would say there's definitely some portion of the luck. I won't say everything I have now is all because of me. I think one thing is I really enjoy working with my team, and I really make sure I never is the bottleneck of the team. I'm very aware of this and keep assessing.
Okay.
So that's why for me, after certain phase of the career, I start to accept the reality. In the high tech, in Google, I cannot be the one always know the most for my organization.
Okay.
I always will have someone at a lot of area they're much better than me. But how can I make sure I always have this culture to not make myself as a bottleneck? So start from don't make a lot of comments. Don't start with I think. So start with ask a question. It's actually hard because to me, I always want to express myself. I don't know, this is maybe from the personality. I always feel like I want to share with you how I think. This is a big transition. To shut up at the meeting, don't talk. Then give team the kind of room to share their idea without my comments. Oh, I think it's a good idea. Oh, I think there's nothing about I think. First thing, start to learn when to shut up. Second step is when I really talk, I ask questions. The third part is I'm still in the transition. I'm not done yet. The third one is focus on the outcome, not on how to get there. The third part is like we align, me with my leads group, align what is outcome, what do we want to achieve, not what we want to do. Because these two words seems like similar, but it's very different. What I always believe we can do, we can achieve more with less. I'm never a believer of we can do more with less. How can you do more with less? But you can achieve more with less with different approach, different technology, different tool, right? So the third step is always focus on achieve what we want to achieve as a team, and then give the autonomy back to my leads to do the things, follow their expertise and their ambition even. And if they have roadblock, I help them. Then the third part actually is, to me, is even more difficult. I start to assess whether I can continue add a value to the organization. The first time is I don't want to be the bottleneck. But after a while, when they grow so fast, I keep asking, am I adding value or I'm just here as the overhead layer? And I invite them to always talk with me because I want to grow. And oftentimes, when we become senior, it's very hard to get sincere, critical feedback. Even the feedback from your manager, they might have some of their interest for you to serve their interest, right? Not for me. But after I start to have this conversation, I get a lot of energy from them. Sometimes they will tell me, Chris, it's time for you to expand scope for us. At that moment, I'm like, wow. Your ambition already passed mine. I need to do my job. Otherwise, why I'm your leader? Why not? I just remove this overhead layer. I'm at this stage. Sometimes when they come to me, when this culture is built, like we're a partner. I'm not your manager, although I will do this manager responsibility, but eventually we're a partner. And everything that we see in this space of cloud, in this space, in this kind of abuse fighting, just keep evolving. So we are kind of in the journey together.
So learning every day, but you're always asking yourself what you can add value to the team.
Exactly, and I invite them to tell me. But overall, I think this kind of self-development really make me feel it is such a great side benefit of, in addition to the work, which pay me well, plus this self-development. It's like super, super exciting every day.
That's a very good summary of the different phases that you've been experiencing. You've been doing a lot of things, and then we talk about successful career. But I'll be very curious about what's your definition of success?
It's also different. When I grow up, at the very beginning, I would say I want to see progression.
Yes.
I want to do new things. I want to learn. At that time, actually, I don't even remember anything. I don't have any frustration about work at that time. It's like, okay, I can high speed internet. I can learn. At that time, there's no great firewall, right? You can reach whatever internet you want. So at that time, to me, even the success, even to think about this, it's probably after 10 years of my career. I don't even have time to think about it. It's just like keep learning, keep having problem. The company needs someone to stand up to do. I just go do it. I don't even think about risk taking. This is not the concept in my vocabulary, because it was the most fast growing time in China. I was in Shanghai, in the center of this kind of technology. So even for success, I start to think about this. Maybe it's a time when I joined Google, already 10 years of my career. And also, frankly speaking, people outside of Google, they feel like Google is very laid back. People are very happy, a lot of good perks.
You have all the meals.
Right.
You can bring your pet to work, to
Exactly.
office.
It's very relaxed, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, when you're in Google, you're surrounded by a group of super smart people. And we have this mental pressure about, after several years, how come you don't get promoted? Everyone should kind of exceed expectation. Then 3 years after expectation, suppose you should work on a more impactful, higher scope stuff. This mental pressure of the promotion, progression of a career actually is coming from Google. And also to me, promote is not just level change. It's about, do I expand my scope? Do I own more problem? Not to do a lot of things, but own more problem. Or horizontally, I expand my scope from China to APAC. Then I move here, become a global leader. So those are the
measurement of your
exactly. And I always focus on those things. I believe promotion is a given if I expand it. So that was the time of success. Then after a while, I think I start to think about one day when I retire, when I just look at the sunset, kind of reflect my life. I don't think I will be talking with people, 2009, I promoted to level 7. Or 2008, I launched a project called Project What? I start to realize all the memory I want to keep is all about people. So at that time, I start to think about success is whether I help my team grow, only my team, because I feel like this is only my responsibility, right? I pay to have the assignment and take care of this team. Then the next step is, because we have a lot of people similar like me coming from the mainland China and they come here. So I start to connect to community. Tracy is my connection to the TOPA community in Google, where now we have 6,000 people from Eastern Asia, Korea, Japan, China, mainly from these 3 countries. I start to see if my experience can help them to overcome some challenges or have some kind of more meaningful journey in corporate America. I'm very happy to support them, and I have a lot of memories. Every event I join, every program I support, I remember vividly. Now, if you ask me how I define success, I think it's still evolving.
Yes.
But at this point, I will say whether I leave some good memory to others. I definitely know I have good memory. I also want to have this good memory because of me, create some good memory for others.
That actually is consistent with what you just mentioned earlier about what inspired you to be in this industry, about you like to be centered around people. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for joining us on Amazing Women in Business. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5-star review. Don't forget to share this episode with another amazing woman in business who will benefit from our community and content. Together, we can empower more women to achieve their full potential. Until next time, keep thriving and breaking barriers.